Not what he said, you ignorant wretch. Spanish is worse than your English.
The Armchair Quarterback Show. Talking about things that'll piss you off, things that'll make you think, things that'll make you laugh, things all throughout the sports world. The Armchair Quarterback Show. Weekdays, drive time. Talking about things.
Like a kiss in the dark.
Do you want to lose 18 pounds fast and improve your health? Now you can lose up to 18 pounds in your first 2 months with Nutrisystem. Get delicious breakfasts, lunches, dinners, even snacks and shakes delivered safely to your door. All delivered for free. It's easy to follow, and you'll see results in your first week. Just text BURN to 323232. You'll get your favorite foods made healthier and perfectly balanced to put your body in fat burning mode. Text BURN to 323232 right now and get 50% off a month of meals and shakes. That's right, 50% off a month of meals and 50% off a month of shakes with probiotics to help support your immune system. Just text BURN to 323232 right now. There's even a money-back guarantee. Millions of people have lost weight with Nutrisystem, and you can too. Lose up to 18 pounds in your first 2 months. Just text BURN to 323232. That's BURN to 323232.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out.
Randy Moss has caught 3 touchdown passes. What a performance.
I didn't even see the ball. I didn't. The sun coming down that way. I seen a black spot at the last minute. So it was either a ball or a bird. So catch the black spot.
CBS Sports Radio, your home for all things sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, coast to coast. Great sports talk expected here. CBS Sports Radio.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd.
You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks. Find us on Facebook today.
Cars from all over America come to find a new home in Florida, just like you. I moved here after the draft, football. I noticed there was one thing missing from this great town, a celebrity-endorsed used car shop. That's why I founded BJ's Used Autos. Every one of these beauties is freshly painted. They look brand new. We have new models coming in every morning, usually around 2 a.m. We can get you anything. And if you see a car of your dreams, tell us. We can acquire it for you. I've taken the skills I've learned as a pro football player to the used car business. Smash, grab, and run like hell. I'm tackling low prices with hot cars.
You'll do anything to stay healthy. So isn't it time to think about your water? Aquasana water filters remove contaminants other filters don't, like lead, bacteria, viruses, and pesticides. Up to 99% of 88 contaminants, while leaving vital minerals you need like potassium, calcium, and magnesium. Visit waterfilter.com now and use promo code RADIO to get 50% off. That's waterfilter.com, promo code RADIO for pure, delicious water and the ultimate peace of mind. Aquasana, better water, better you.
This is Jim Rome. Join me in the jungle for your phone calls and the biggest names in sports. Stop by weekdays, noon until 3 Eastern, 9 to noon Pacific.
Why is there a pancake in the silverware drawer?
I mean, why is there silverware in the pancake drawer?
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd.
Good morning. Turn that down. Welcome to the Armchair Quarterbacks Neighborhood Play with Joey and Christian. Christian, how the hell are you this morning, sir?
I'm doing fantastic. Happy to be back on another exciting episode of Armchair Quarterbacks.
And Joey, you're coming to us from St. Louis in Cubs gear. You trying to get murdered over there? What's going on, man?
Well, since I'm not allowed to wear it to the game, you know, I got to be supportive for the show. It's going to be a scorcher today. So like Christian, I'll probably be in the tank top at this one. It's hot everywhere. But yes, live from St. Louis. Let's have a good show.
Okay, I was about to say, I hope you're not wearing that thing today.
No, I'm not one of those fans. I hate that. I can't stand that.
I don't want you to be another statistic, you know. We start rioting and everyone thinks it's political crap, and no, it's a Cubs guy.
Just the Cubs guy. No harm, no foul.
Just a Cubs guy, man. Leave me alone. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into the neighborhood play. First thing, I guess we'll start off with the Cubs, they're in the middle of a 14-game stretch that's going to be pretty much playing murderer's row. What say you, Joey?
Man, I mean, we unfortunately lost last night to the Giants. It was a good game for a while, but we got 4 there. Then we, have 3 with the Padres in San Diego. Then we come home for what we'll talk about, a packed house at Wrigley for the Cardinals, and then 3 after that at the Mets. So, I mean, that is a 14-game stretch with a lot of first-place teams / playoff teams, and this is what it's all about. We're going to see after this if they're pretenders or contenders, because I tell you right now, I didn't, like I mentioned many times, didn't have a lot of faith coming into this whole thing, but they're playing good baseball. I just hope this 14-game stretch doesn't take away from that, and then we can see where we go from there.
All right, Christian, the Urminator. You couldn't get him out the first part of the season, and now he can't hit water falling out of a boat. What say you on the Urminator? Because he's really low on DraftKings today. I'm really considering playing him today against Scooble, a lefty versus righty matchup.
I think that would actually be not a bad choice on your behalf. I will mention that the Urminator was a fat 0 for 25 in his previous 25 at-bats until last night when he walked it off for the White Sox, which is fantastic. You love to see that kind of stuff. But I think we were bound to see a regression to the mean eventually with the Urminator. There was no way he was going to hit damn near 400 for the whole season. Otherwise, you might as well give him the batting title right now, most improved player, whatever it may be. But as it stands, I'm still very high on him. I actually took a deeper look when the White Sox win. The Urminator is batting a fat 330. He's put up 17 runs. When the White Sox lose, he's batting almost 100 points less. So he's a key cog for the White Sox in that lineup.
I'll tell you one thing we'll do for you. Now, so for people who only watch this show and don't know what else goes on in Armchair Quarterbacks, on Saturday mornings, 10 a.m. Eastern, we do a fantasy baseball analytical show, okay? And then at 11 a.m. Eastern, we do the neighborhood play. Next week, and hopefully y'all can help me remind the guys, but I'm going to have them do a deep dive on the Urminator and see what his analytics are saying from the beginning of the season to now, et cetera, and maybe that can give us because I haven't looked up like his hard hit rate and his WOBA and his BABIP and all that kind of stuff, but that sometimes can be an indicator of, was a guy hot because he got hot / lucky, or is this something that he's going to come out of now? Because usually the numbers tell you, if a guy was hot at the beginning and he's cold now, which one is the true tale? And it's usually got to, because we were talking about it today, the incredible hard hit rate that Freddie Freeman does encounters every single day. He's scorching the ball, but the guy's only hitting like 226 right now, far from his MVP year of last year. So we will do that. We will look into that. If y'all have any other players you want us to look into, let me know each week, and I'll assign that to our stat nerd gurus. They can go on for days about one player's splits.
That's the beauty of analytics, right?
Oh, because it's like I was telling them, you would get interest out of this, Joey. The catcher in all of Major League Baseball that has the hardest hard hit rate in all of Major League Baseball is actually Wilson Contreras' brother, William, who plays for the Braves.
Wow.
But he's only hitting like 220. I think it's like 222 right now, because everything he hits goes straight into a glove. And the problem with that, with him across the board, for the Cubs fans who haven't followed his little brother, he's terrible defensively, because he's just, it's a new position to him. I think he's going to get better, but it's a lot of growing pains. And so the question is always, is it worth having a terrible glove on the field if it's going to equate into a really good hitter, in which we think he will be? Right now, he's hitting the ball. I mean, he hit 2 last night that went scorching into one left field glove and one to third base. But you're like, man, just a foot over to the right, and the damn thing's a double. And the one in the left field was just dumbfounding, because the guy's normally not standing there. But anyways, we will do more of that What's big news in Chicago that hit the headlines yesterday is that the Cubs and White Sox in the very near future, it looks like the Cubs on June 11th, and I don't think the White Sox have announced it yet unless I missed it overnight, are going to be allowed 100% capacity in the stands. I know you're excited for that, Joey. Christian, the White Sox, have you heard anything on when they're going to announce when they'll have 100% in the stands?
I have actually. My season ticket holder account manager, she actually reached out to me just recently, and we're back.
So you got a guy.
Yeah, I got a guy, I guess.
He's got someone, huh?
I'm not that inside, but I guess I got a little tip off that they were bumping it up to 100%. So it's going to be fantastic. This might be the most packed White Sox stadium.
Date or is it still up in the air?
I believe it's next weekend as well. I think they're following suit with the Cubs.
I was looking at the schedules for both teams, and it made sense why the Cubs were doing it on June 11th. And I was trying to see how long. I would think the White Sox would do it sometime next week. I would think.
I'm thinking that for their next homestand, either against Toronto. I think Toronto will likely be that good proving ground for them to bump capacity up, because that should be a pretty competitive series right there with two young, talented teams. Otherwise, I could see them doing it the following week against Tampa Bay. But either way, might be the most capacity that this stadium has seen since the 2005 White Sox team.
I'll tell you what, they are a fun team to watch. I've watched more Chicago baseball across the board than I've ever since we started doing this show. And the Cubs are getting hot. The White Sox are a fun team to watch. I watched quite a bit of that Tigers game last night, the Tigers White Sox game. What an incredible game. I can't believe that. Now, look, the White Sox ended up winning, but I felt like that Dallas Keuchel 6 innings, 1 earned run was wasted, because all of a sudden the run started kind of like, I'm not even going to get a win out of this. So thankfully they ended up winning. And who am I? I'm blanking. Hit the 2 home runs. Catcher.
Yasmani Grandal.
Grandal, yeah.
Out time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What the hell's going? I cannot believe I looked at him in fantasy a few weeks ago and saw that he was available in some leagues. Like, how is Grandal available? And then I saw his average. I was like, my God, he's not doing anything. So hopefully he gets it going, because what was that, a 4-year deal that he signed last year?
I believe so, yeah. And even more concerning, the analytics say he should be a good hitter. He's making hard contact with the ball, but it's either he's hitting it directly to a glove or he's striking out. And it's very Barry Bonds-esque for all the wrong reasons right now.
So you get the fans in the stands. They're on the way. Both teams playing incredible baseball, top of their divisions. Now a Cubs fan has to decide, do you want to keep Baez or do you want to keep Bryant? So are you under the impression, let's say that they continue to play well, they don't sell, yada, 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 that there's no way they can keep them both?
I mean, I just don't see how it's possible. I know the Ricketts have pretty deep pockets and can make things happen, but at the same time, they've invested a lot into around Wrigley and haven't gotten it fully back yet due to COVID and the capacity issue. If they're both looking for $200+ million to me, or even if Baez say 150, Bryant 200, that's $350, $400 million. I just don't think you could pitch that very easily when you have to keep other parts of the roster intact. So when I look at things overall, I think to myself, man, a guy like Chris Bryant, he could play 5 positions. He's the only MVP to ever play that many positions, actually, ever since he been moved over to first base with Rizzo out sometimes. But then you got Baez, who's the heart and soul. He's the shortstop. He makes all the, fancy plays. We talked about the play with Pittsburgh.
Fancy.
How dumb it. Yeah. he does all the, the cool things. He's got that swag factor, as people would say. But if you're going to make me choose one, gun to head, I'm a Baez guy. I know Bryant's having a great year. But the last couple of seasons, I was a little bit down on him, and I think he's going to get paid more than Javi. And just seeing what happened with the Phillies and Bryce Harper, by no means am I fully comparing Harper and Bryant, but they have a lot of connections going back to their Vegas days. And I would just let him walk and take the money and then keep everybody else. Maybe Rizzo now takes that 75 because of his injury issues. Then you get Javi for about 150, and then you can keep things going around. We'll talk about Kimbrel in a minute, but he's also a free agent coming up. So there's a lot going on right now, and I think Baez would be the guy I keep. What about you guys?
I'm prejudiced because I'm a big Baez fan. So, and I've never been a big Bryant fan. Not that I dislike him. I like watching Javi Baez play baseball. So when you ask me that, it's like asking me, who do you think's the better player, Ronald Acuna Jr. or Tatis? I'm going to tell you Acuna Jr. every single day of the week. It doesn't matter who the better player is because I like these players. What say you, Christian?
I guess I see where you guys come from with like how Baez has been like the magic man for the Cubs for a long time. He's like the heart and soul of that team. I think Bryant, arguably his versatility in the field kind of is intangible. He can play so many positions, and he's having a phenomenal bounce back year after having some troubled injuries in the past. This is a really big proving time for the Cubs. I mean, June and July is when teams really make or break their playoff hope. And if the Cubs have any intentions of maybe dealing one of these players and getting a good return, it's going to be crunch time to make that decision soon. But I don't know. For me, I think I keep Bryant.
Does anybody know the age difference in the guys?
Let me see. No, not off the top of my head.
I can look it up real quick. I didn't know if you knew. So Baez is 28. I gotta say Bryant's right in that same
29.
He's 29. Okay. Baez won't be 29 until the end of this year. Chris Bryant, is he turning 30 this year, or is he a solid 29?
I believe he already turned 29.
Okay. So yeah. Okay. Yeah. January. All right. So, well, their birthdays are like a month apart. So for all intents and purposes, Bryant's about a year older. So that can't sway you. Bryant can play outfield I think if he continues on this tear that he's going to command some money, but do you really think that he's going to get more money than Baez? Because I have a hard time seeing that.
I mean, MVP who, usually, I know his former MVP, but this year batting average over 300. I know I was just talking great about Javi, but at the same time, we keep talking about, the magic he performs. Chris Bryant just gets in the dirt, gets the job done. He's both, neither of them miss a ton of games, but when you're that versatile and, he saw what his buddy in Harper got, who can only play the outfield. And like I said, Chris Bryant had a couple of years where you put him in the top 5 MVP conversation. I do think he's going to try to command that type of money, especially with his agent. So I just think it's going to be hard because he could easily, to me, get 5, 6, 7 years for about, let's say, from between 2 and 250.
All right, so he has a lifetime 283 average. He is hitting 316 this year, but lifetime 282 or 283. On base percentage of 381. You don't really pay attention to that because he's not a base threat. But his OPS is 896 lifetime. Now, if we go back to Javi Baez, I'm gonna pull up his stats in a minute to compare the two, because I think you also have to take into consideration with Javi Baez is that he's an incredible defender,
right? And their home runs and RBIs are pretty similar, I know.
So his lifetime batting average is 263, 20 points lower. His OBP is much lower at 303, and his OPS is much lower at 777. So I get what you're saying, but I do wonder how much money he's going to command because he's in the prime of his career. I always forget that he went to high school here in Jacksonville. I always forget about that. People tell me that like once every 2 years, and I always forget about it. But yeah, he's from Arlington County Day Country School, as they call it here in Jacksonville, Florida. Even though he was originally born in Puerto Rico, he's a Jacksonville boy, so we won't hold that against him. But what does that mean? He knows how to scrap. He knows how to scrap if he's from Jayville. Trust me.
We'll take it.
You don't walk the streets of Jacksonville without taking a lick or two. So the OPS is much lower, which is why you might be able to get him on a deal. But I just wonder, because it's a totally different story when you're talking about an outfielder's offensive output and a shortstop's offensive output. So I know Bryant can play third base, but he's not the best third baseman on the planet, right? You're more getting him for his bat, and you could put him at third if you want, but you also know you have the luxury of when his legs get a little older, you can go throw him in left field. Of course, and then of course, if he goes signs in the American League, forget about it. You can put him at DH, which I do think we're going to have a DH next year in both leagues, unfortunately, but it's the wave of the future, and it is what it is. I'm tired of screaming from the hills about get rid of it because it's coming. What the hell can I do about it? They're not going to. If it was up to me, they would get rid of the designated hitter altogether, and we would all play real baseball. But it looks like it's going to go the opposite direction because they want offense, and the way to get offense is not putting the pitcher out there to hit. So I don't know. That's going to be an interesting story to follow. Which one's going to command more money? There's a great free agent market this year too. Just as it's so funny, it's such a huge free agent market. Just as the collective bargaining agreement ends, so how much pressure is there going to be on the MLBPA, basically Tony Clark? How much pressure is going to be on him to get this damn deal done? Because we've got a lot of money that's going to come to a lot of our guys. And if you screw around and get in some kind of pissing contest, then not only could the season get delayed next year, that's going to affect everybody's contracts.
And that's the last thing they need is a season delay after all the COVID BS. And then, I mean, I was just curious, what is like the top?
I'm telling you, Tony Clark is toxic. And he wants to make his freaking name off of, well, I did this and I did that, et cetera, et cetera. And he wants to show that he's the big dog as opposed to being smart about it, give and take. He wants to show that he won because he felt like, well, the media's narrative was that he lost the last collective bargaining agreement. So now it's got to do with the pride factor. Dude, no one loses if you continue to play the sport. You put fans in the stands and money's going into your damn pocket. Piss them off enough and see what happens. That's what happened to the NHL when they didn't play for 18 months. I still think there are fans that never came back to that.
And especially with baseball trying to grow their fan base too, the last thing you want is to have any kind of cease of play, because of money issues. That's the last thing people care about.
You've got the perfect opportunity because everyone's canceled the NBA. No one watches it anymore. And as much as everybody hates him because he's a dink, LeBron's out of the playoffs. You don't even have the villain to root against now, right? So I personally am going to watch more basketball because he's not there. But I think there might be a lot of people who won't tune in because a lot of them tune in to pull against the villain. Right. So there's something to be said with, having a villain in your sport. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Where are we at next? Lance Lynn, perfect fit for the White Sox. What say you, Christian?
Well, outside of being 7-1 on the year with 1.23 ERA, we briefly talked about him last week and what like the White Sox like dream pitching rotation would be in the playoffs. But Lance Lynn he personifies the South Side attitude. He kind of takes the Tim Anderson attitude and he brings it to the pitcher's mound. He pitches with a lot of energy and fans love that. Outside of him being an exciting pitcher, it's just he's got that attitude that people love, that fills seats. That to me, I think that kind of personality brings a locker room together. So I really love the Lance Lynn signing. Might be one of the best signings we had in quite some time. For sure, a better signing than the Yasmani signing. Between Keuchel and Lynn right now, obviously Lynn is the much better pitcher, the much more worthy signing. If we talked last week about what our starting rotation would be in the playoffs, and I had to revisit this because I was torn. Giolito is our long-lived ace, and we respect him and love him in Chicago. But as it stands, between Cease and between Lynn and Rodon, they're both pitching out of their damn minds right now. And then you've got a veteran in Giolito, an experienced playoff pitcher in Keuchel. you've got so many options to go through this, but to me, my starting three is going to change a little bit. It's going to go Lynn, Giolito, Rodon, and then from there, shake them out, I suppose.
Lynn, it's funny with Lynn because I kept doubting him everywhere he's gone. He just doesn't look like a guy that's going to keep it together. He looks like a guy that's going to go on a bender and just
Sounds like a
little John
at a
Daly
party with, if you
looking
ask me.
he looks like you're going to be like, oh, dude, we haven't seen him in like 4 days. We don't know where the hell he is. But the guy, everywhere he goes, he performs. And I guess it's because he just doesn't have that athletic physique and build that you just keep expecting him to fall off the cliff. But man, I'll tell you what, I've had to eat a lot of crow about Lance Lynn over the years because I used to like absolutely doubt him. By the time he signed with Chicago, I wasn't doubting him anymore. But when he was in Texas and whatnot, I was like, this guy does not look like a damn baseball player. Like what are we looking at here? He looks like John Daly's like younger brother or something. But, which I know I'm no one to talk, but I'm also not out there throwing 7 innings. So
making millions too. But he's talking about the pitchers real quick. My dad, who watches this show religiously, he actually just texted me a stat that I found wild, that batting average going into last week in all of baseball is 237. That's the lowest since World War II. When I heard that, I was like, holy crap.
Which strangely enough, the runs aren't down. The runs are being scored because they're all swinging for the fences. But it's bad for baseball. It really is. Because and Joey, I know we've talked about, I talk about it ad nauseum, but the most exciting thing about baseball is movement, right? So in other words, if you got guys on base, and I miss the old hit and run, you don't see it anymore. The other night the Braves tried it, it didn't work, but I was like, damn, that's actually still in the playbook? I didn't even know they still had that. Because to me, there's nothing more exciting than doing a hit and run, and that ball happens to hit the gap and the guy from first scores, right? The most exciting play to me in all of sport is a triple. In all of sport, because inside the Parkers just don't happen. We're missing that because everyone's trying to get the launch angle. Even though they try to say they don't, they're lying. That's what they do. That's why they're striking out. So they're trying to get the ball to lift, and if the ball lifts, it either leaves the building or it's caught. And we need more of a steady diet of bullets in the gap, right? Balls being hit hard, bases right. What's more exciting than your batter up? And we'll say a right-handed batter, right? And we'll just take one. We'll take Baez. And he hits one down the first base line, and it's rattling around the corner. You know he's got the speed to get to third, right? Or what's more exciting than got runners on first and second, and the ball gets hit into the gap? Can that defender stop it and prevent a run, or is that ball going to roll to the wall and they all come marching home, right?
Well, and I'll tell you what, man, what's not exciting is the 18 strikeouts per game. Also, that's highest.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Because the ball's not being put in play. I guess is my big thing. If the ball's not in play, to me, if the ball's not put in play, it's like what's happened to the NBA, where they just stand back there and chuck threes.
Right.
Whatever the hell happened to a good old-fashioned hard screen that got a guy loose back door for a layup underneath? That to me is more exciting than and look, great player, but Steph Curry chucking up 33 pointers, it's not exciting to me because then we won't get into that because this is a basketball show. But the whole thing is, I miss basketball. I talk about this all the time. I miss basketball because they haven't played it in about 15 years. I don't know what the hell they're playing now, but it's basically a game of horse.
You want the Pistons bad boys back is what you need.
I want defense. I mean, look, there was nothing more fun than Larry Bird throwing an elbow to Bill Lambier's jaw and the whole both benches. That's it. But it sucks because it takes the athletic ability out of it.
Well, yeah. Besides local Tom Thibodeau, who's now in New York, you're not going to see defense these days. Sadly, it
sucks. Well, that's because you can't hand check anymore. So the moment they took out the hand check because they wanted to make sure that Michael Jordan scored 30 points a game and would sell tickets and tennis shoes, that was it. And that book came out, The Jordan Rules. Is not what I refer to the Jordan Rules in a lot of old school. When I think of the Jordan Rules, it's not that they were hitting him harder. The Jordan Rules to most fans of the 80s means they changed all the damn rules so that guys like Jordan could look, Jordan's most famous shot, his last shot of his Chicago career, it was an offensive foul. There's no other way around it. He shoved it out of the way. You can't do that.
I never saw that. I don't know what you're talking about.
You're on the right platform because you can find it on YouTube really damn quick. If that would push off offensive foul, I'll eat my hat. But I'm not blaming it all on Jordan. What I'm saying is at least they allowed a little defense back then because the Knicks and Bulls would go at it. So anyways, back to baseball. We need more bullets in the gap and less launch angles.
Yes.
So
and less guys swinging, staring, it's not going out, and they end up with a long single.
So do you think that them moving the pitcher's mound is going to make any kind of decisive impact on the game? I know that's still tentative and minor leagues only right now, but that's the MLB's response as of now, to try and make the game a little more exciting, I suppose.
I don't like the idea of moving it backwards because it's been 60 feet 6 inches for 150 years. And baseball, if the one thing it's always had its statistics. But I don't have as much a problem if they want to lower the mound a little bit like they did in 1968. I think they need to do that before they go crazy and move it back a foot because that's going to make a big difference. You move the mound back a foot, you're going to go from Jacob deGrom's going to have a 5 ERA. I mean, it's just going to be.
Aren't they using all the sticky crap now too? I keep seeing James Karanchik on Cleveland. He was had a 0.50 ERA. He got caught once, and now he's been giving up runs left and right. I'm not saying that's why. But
and they
what's going on?
Yeah, and they say that they're going to start cracking down. Okay, well then I agree with that. They need to start cracking down, and they need to make it 100% across the board. They've talked about this forever. They just never do it. Whatever substance that you want to make legal, make it legal. Okay. But make that only one substance. The funny thing is that Trevor Bauer says that if you use sunscreen in your rosin bag, you can make baseball do some funny things. And both of those things are legal. Obviously the rosin bag's legal, right? And evidently sunscreen is legal because you can't tell a player he can't put sunscreen on.
Right.
So that's an issue, but I would say lower the mound first before you move it back because you can't make it where the over under runs turns into a circus because you might get a few chuckleheads to come in and watch baseball a little more, but you're going to get the diehard fans like us to just go, what the hell am I watching? Right. I don't want to see a panic overreaction, I guess is my point.
Mm-hmm.
Tony La Russa not defending the team.
We're just beating a dead horse here at this point. After the whole Yerman fiasco when he hit the bomb on the video account, La Russa doesn't defend his team. He goes to the media and he pretty much throws him under the bus.
I don't remember him doing that before either, by the way.
No.
He was in St. Louis, and maybe it was a different media. Or maybe
he's just sipping.
Maybe he wasn't tipping the bottle back,
Or maybe he's got some screws loose now,
I think more than a few.
I was gonna say
they always say the mind's the first thing to go, right? I mean, I don't know.
Somebody was asking on Twitter the other day, if anybody's done a mental health check on Tony La Russa because some of the decisions he makes and the comments he makes are just boggling. And specifically in this case, one of his star pitchers, Giolito, he says having some fun because he's chirping the umpire about an egregiously low ball. And prior to that, there were some pretty poor strikes called. It's late in the game. The White Sox are winning. Giolito starts letting the umpire have it. The umpire throws him out. So what? That's your pitcher. If you have a problem with that, you handle that inside the clubhouse. The media doesn't need to know about those kinds of things. And even then, it's not really that big of a deal.
I agree. Do we lose Christian? I mean, Joey? Oh, there he is. The heck are you doing?
Sorry. I'm operating with the phone a little different for me right now.
St. Louis Cardinal fans has cut his Wi-Fi. It's over.
Yeah.
They're taking
coming to
over.
get you right now is what's going on.
CUBS. No. Cut the cord.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I wasn't even used to it last night when I got here. I was just talking about the Cubs, and I didn't realize how many Cardinals fans were around. I'm like, oh God, I'm not going to make it. After I have a few brews today, guys, this could be my last show if I'm behind.
Yeah. I was a child. I'm talking about 8, 9 years old, somewhere in that neighborhood. And I go to Washington, D.C. with the Tony Dorsett Dallas Cowboys jersey on. I wasn't even a Cowboy fan, but my mom let me buy a jersey. I've told this story before, but the short of it is I bought the jersey because she let me pick a player, and that was the player that I knew. We was like in a J.C. Penney's or something. There was like 4 players, and I didn't know any of the others, but I knew who Tony Dorsett was. And at the time, I was actually a smaller kid, and I played running back, so I love running backs. And anyways, we get to Washington, D.C., and I've got Tony Dorsett jersey on. This is the mid 80s, right? And man, the security guy at the Capitol building, I don't know if he was Capitol Police or not because I was a kid, so it's hard for me to decipher. But he came over and started sticking his finger in my face about this and that, and about how they're going to kick the crap out of us.
Holy crap!
In my head, I'm Jacksonville, Florida. The only sport that I really know is football and baseball, and he's talking about going to kick the crap out of us. I thought he was talking about Florida State, which makes no sense to anyone. Like, why the hell would you be thinking? But I was like 8, 9 years old. I go, you're not gonna, and I start going back and forth. Probably my first sports debate or whatever. And the guy's like, "Who are you talking about?" I said, "Who are you talking about?" He goes, "You're wearing a Dorsett jersey." I go, "Oh yeah, I'm a Florida State fan. I don't know about that."
Hey, I tuned in a little bit to Florida State yesterday. Did they end up winning their games, or what happened there?
Yeah, we beat Southern Miss 5-2 yesterday.
Nice.
The ladies will play today at 2:30. They are on the brink of elimination at the World Series out in Omaha. They lost the first game to UCLA, but it's a win and go on between Florida State and Arizona as they have the winners bracket one less. So there's only been one team in the last 20-something years that's won the Women's College World Series after dropping the first game, and that was the 2018 Lady Seminoles. So hopefully they can repeat it, but this team doesn't have the talent that 2018 team was an all-timer. Like when they dropped that first game, everyone was shocked, and then they came back. And anyways, it's a long story. I could do a novel on that one, but that was a hell of a hopefully they win and can extend it as long as possible. Florida lost though.
Yep.
Nice.
Lost to South Florida. Oh man.
Tim Tebow's winning, and
I haven't even messed with Tony because I can imagine he's just irate. He went to that game, rain delay, and they lose. Oh my
boy.
God.
He might not come on the show next week if you give him too much credit.
I know. We were doing the Gators and Golf show yesterday morning, and he was on his way over there. And anyways, I mean, I don't really want to see him go over and watch his team lose, but I can't tell you how much I do not like the Gators. That is built into me. My dad, Florida State graduate from the early 60s. All right. The last one before we hit the playing pepper. Kimbrel is rolling. Do you think he's basically found the fountain of youth and he's back, or what? I mean, is he going to keep this going on all year long?
Man, I really think so, and I would have never thought that. Obviously, after the last season, he has a .78 ERA. He's pitched in 23 games, 13 saves, 39 strikeouts, and his WHIP matches his ERA. So he's not walking people. He I don't know how to really explain this in the greatest sense, but you just see the snap on his pitches. Like he's just finishing his pitches much better. I feel like He's not hanging his breaking ball. The confidence is back. Every time he steps on the mound, you're like, oh God, you can just tell him. And he gets up there and he fires away. He's not thinking too much. I think when his breaking ball stopped working a little bit last year and the velocity was a little down, his confidence got shot. But man, I can't argue when you have the same whip as you do ERA and you're just lights out. I think he's found it for at least this season. I don't know about beyond, but for this year, yes.
I keep calling him Samson because the dude grows his hair out, and all of a sudden he's like Kimbrel from 2016.
Yeah.
I was like, where the hell was this dude? Like the
2018
Red Sox. The 2018 Red Sox won the World Series despite he was the closer, because I mean, there was that last game of the Yankees Red Sox series that got them to the World Series. The ball was caught at the wall and there were batters on. I mean, that game, he almost went down in Red Sox lore. And then they went and they beat the Dodgers, and the Dodgers got screwed again because they were using watches, and the Astros are banging trash cans. The Dodgers, we're just trying to play baseball over here. Would y'all knock it off? I can't tell you how much I don't like the Dodgers, especially after last night.
Hey man, I'm with you.
All right, let's go ahead and play some Pepper here on the neighborhood play. All right, first one we'll throw at you. The Chicago White Sox have acquired an Anaheim Angel. Any one of your choice.
An Anaheim Angel.
Who would you take? Would you take Ohtani? Would you take Mike Trout, assuming he's healthy? Or, I mean, those are the two main ones. But would you go with Ohtani or would you go with Trout?
That's a really tough one because Ohtani just brings so much to the game of baseball, both at the plate and on the mound. And then you know what you're going to get with Mike Trout, easily the best player we've seen in baseball in decades, right? But if I had to take one, I think I'd like to bring Shohei to Chicago.
Wow.
I'm going to totally dissent, like he's just so exciting. His potential as a pitcher, we don't even know like how much better he can become. And then at the plate,
surprise for you, Mike Trout's going to join us. Mike, come on in. No.
Well, there goes any chances of him coming to Chicago, I suppose, right? But no, I think Shohei's he's just one of the most exciting players in baseball we've seen in decades. The guy can pitch
It's such a hard choice because, first of all, both of them can't stay healthy. But assuming they're healthy, I mean, do you add an ace type pitcher? And I don't know if he's quite an ace, but he's at least a number 2 to the staff and a DH. Or do you add one of the greatest players to ever play the game and his defense is off the charts? That's one of the things that always gets left out about how great Trout is. Everyone wants to focus on his bat. His glove is an all-timer as well.
I guess I might have to take back
Eloy out of the outfield, then. You can keep
I might have to take back what I said. The woes that the White Sox have in the outfield, maybe Mike Trout might be the safer play for us. I don't know.
Would you be willing to send Jimenez and you have to send more than that to get Mike Trout. Would you send Jimenez and Giolito for Mike Trout?
I think I'm taking that deal in a heartbeat. As much as
you have to, I think.
Yeah, as much as it would hurt me to lose Giolito because of the hometown love.
All right, Cubs get the same question. Are you taking Trout or are you taking Ohtani? And it's for this year, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And for just argument's sake, it'll just be draft picks, okay? So in other words, you're thinking of this year's team. Are you going to add one of the best players to ever play the game into your outfield, or are you going to help that pitching staff?
Now, people might call me crazy, and I'm going to, even though I said wow to Christian, I would probably do Ohtani for this season just because our starting pitching needs that help. And that's the only thing that's been the negative spot for the Cubs right now is their bullpen and their hitting has been there. So I love Mike Trout, obviously one of the best players to ever put on a uniform. But at the same time, if our lineup is already producing at a pretty good rate, and when it comes down to playoffs, you need that starting pitcher, I think he would easily fill in and probably be our number one right off the bat. I mean, maybe number two, but probably number one. So for this team specifically, I would go Ohtani.
All right. Throw this at y'all because we're running out of time. Christian, the Miami Marlins never get any fans, no matter what Steven tries to tell us weekly basis. They're going to get any fans. We're coming out of COVID. Florida's wide open, and there's like 4 guys sitting in the stands every time you turn on a Marlins game, right? So we're going to take the Marlins out of Florida. We're going to put them anywhere you want to put them. What city would you set them in?
That's an easy one for me. I think the Montreal Expos was a phenomenal organization. Montreal, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, you're correct.
They had some of the most kick-ass uniforms. I remember Vladdy smacking the ball around out there. It's a baseball city. People follow baseball in Canada as well. Toronto's a pretty successful franchise. I don't see why Montreal couldn't be the same. It's pretty cold over there. Nobody's got a reason to be outside like they do in Miami. So I think Montreal would be the place to be for me.
So I went to the Jacksonville game, the minor league team here at the Jumbo Shrimp the other day, and the Expos used to be one of their teams. I don't know, 15 years ago, they were the Jacksonville Expos, something like that. And anyways, the night that we went, they just happened to wear the old Expos uniforms.
Wow.
Now they're not affiliated with the Nationals in any way. They're actually the Marlins AAA team, which is kind of fun to watch because you're basically dealing with these guys are like a week away from going and playing for the Marlins, right? Because we all know the Marlins stink, right? It was really cool to see those unis out there. All right, Christian, we have now put the Marlins in Montreal. We're going to take the damn Rays out of Tampa, okay? They're not getting any fans either. Now, you don't necessarily have to take them out of the state of Florida, but you got to take them out of Tampa. Where are we going to put the Tampa Bay Rays?
This one might sound kind of crazy because it's not a sports city whatsoever, but, there's a lot of diehard baseball fans in Iowa. Like the Cubs have a huge following in Iowa, and I think why couldn't we see a successful baseball team out there? They don't have much else to cheer for other than the Hawkeyes, really. So, why not give them something to root for?
All right, I might have said Christian. I meant Joey. Joey, where are you going to put the Rays? Sorry.
Viva Las Vegas.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And to be honest with you, because Tampa Bay, they're actually in St. Petersburg, which is actually a little bit of a pain because the Buccaneer Stadium is right in the heart of Tampa. St. Petersburg's a beautiful town, but people aren't really traveling over there. But what better money-making move? You already moved the Vegas Knights. You already got the Raiders. Why not move a baseball team to Vegas and just blow that crap up? People will show up. I mean, people are going to be there, regardless of, I guess if they suck or something. But people don't show up in Tampa Bay Rays games when they're good. So you might as well move them to Vegas and make that money maker, in my opinion.
I'll tell you one of the rumors that's been going on around here down in Florida is there's a real conversation about the Rays splitting their home with Tampa and Montreal.
Really?
There's a real conversation.
I've heard that.
A lot of people are poo-pooing on you can't have a team. Why not? Why can't you have a team with two hometowns? I think it's a smart idea because if you're going to put a second town for the Rays, it makes sense because they play in the AL East that their second town would be up in Montreal, right?
Right.
Because you'd be playing against Toronto in most years when everything's open. You would have the Montreal Toronto thing going on there, and then of course Montreal's not that far from New York and Boston. The one city I would like to see them explore, though it doesn't look like it's going to happen anytime soon because they can't get their act together on the team to buy. But Nashville, Tennessee, I believe, is a city that's eventually going to. The problem is they're going to have to be an American League team because the Atlanta Braves, the St. Louis Cardinals, and the Cincinnati Reds are like basically like if Nashville's here, they're like this, and they're all going to fight over television rights for the National League. So you need to make them an American League team.
Right.
So I don't know. put him in the same division of like the
White Sox.
Yeah, White Sox and Royals and everything like that. It would make a lot of sense to do that. It is time to do our walk-offs and get out of here. Christian, what's your walk-off for the day, sir?
The walk-off of the day is that the Yerminator is back on the board. He's trending in the right direction. 1 for 26 in his last 26 at-bats. I would take him in DraftKings today. I think this guy is a very up-and-down player, but when he's hitting the ball, and all it takes is one swing to get back into that groove. So I'm all back in on the Yerminator.
I think I'm gonna ride with him today. I do a competition with the other analytical guys every week, and the key to me winning that is actually checking my damn lineup.
I'm in the same boat as you, brother.
Man, last week we were doing this on the last show. Long story short, I go to pull up the numbers, like, my God, I hardly ever even scored. I go pull it up. 5 of my guys didn't play. I'm like, that's not the look you want.
Not at all, right?
Wah wah.
Tony, what's your walk off, sir?
My walk-off is I just hope I'm back next week. I'm going to have quite the luxurious amount of beers today at Cardinal Stadium, being a Cubs fan. So I'm going to enjoy it in all honesty. Ballpark Village, I've heard great things. We got a great plan set up for today. It's going to be a nice one out there. I haven't been to that new ballpark. I was actually at the old one the last time I was in the area. So I'm pretty excited just to see the stadium. I like seeing new stadiums for sure, even though it's the Cardinals. And I ain't going to say anything good about them. I do want to check out the stadium.
Yeah, that's one of my bucket lists I haven't hit. I hit the Village, but they weren't playing baseball that day, so I didn't get a chance to go to the stadium.
New Busch Stadium is really nice. It's huge in the inside. Like, you're not cramped whatsoever. So, it's a nice place to be.
That's not – the new Braves Stadium is that way. I've yet to watch a live game there, but I did watch batting practice. That's a long story we don't have time for. But – there's like their outfield seats, they're like theater seats. I mean,
so are they encouraging people to just keep getting bigger at this one?
Yeah. I mean, it's Atlanta, Georgia, man. They're like, grab a funnel cake, get fatter. Who cares?
Yeah, baby.
Like by the time it's an issue, we're gonna have so many advances in medicine. We'll be all right. All right.
We'll worry about that later.
Exactly. That's future fans' problem. Today we'll eat. My walk off for the day is we got some good matchups across the board. Kershaw versus Acuna Jr.
Oh wow!
We'll lock into that. Tatis versus DeGrom.
Oh boy!
Like, holy cow! And there was another one. Where is it at? I'm interested to see what Erod is going to do against that right-handed lineup of the Yankees. So, but
it's funny you brought him up. I almost needed to grab a fantasy pitcher, and once I saw he was playing the Yankees, I'm like, yeah, I can't grab him. I got too scared to pick him up.
He's good though, man. I mean,
I know.
In New York, though,
it's in New York. His 5.64 ERA scares you in Yankee Stadium. He's going against Tyon though, man. That guy might as well be playing slow pitch softball. I mean, that guy's ridiculous.
Oh, come on, man.
They backed a truck up for him. He's 1-4 with a 5.110 ERA. He's terrible.
Man.
And meanwhile, the Rays will send 57-year-old Rich Hill to the mound, who's got a 3.32 ERA.
Hey, but he's been pitching pretty solid this year, though, hasn't he?
I know. The Rays dumbfound me. I'll tell you another one if you like good pitching. Savale versus Means today. Indians Orioles.
Oh yeah, Savale is a beast.
No one's talking about Means. I mean, look.
Everyone
knows he throws the no-hitter. He's got a 2.05 ERA in the American League. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
All right, guys. See you next week as it's time to play ball. And we'll see you 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 Central on Neighborhood Play. Have fun at the game.
Thank you. Have a good day, boys.
Yep, you too.
Play ball.